Hello. Hello and welcome back to a personal code of conduct. I am Dio and I don't think I'm going to be bothering the entire changing the compression volume or whatever. Whatever it is, whatever happens. So today is I don't know, it's quite a boring episode where Dio is being I should we call it sad or should we call it dramatic or should we call it acceptance of you've broken an entire habit and everything in atomic habits has gone through shit. So I spent the entire week not feeling exactly well, still not feeling 100%. So no cooking this week. I wasted money being I don't know, a spend or enjoyable human being in my journey to actually pay my own rent by myself. What a joke. So this week we'll end up talking about existentialism. Not really existentialism, looking at different subject matters and realization of human existence and pointlessness. As usual, then again, it's called the personal code of conduct. But this, I warn you, is going to be a particularly disturbing, not disturbing, depressing episode. So let's carry on, I guess. I had a topic, it came to my mind while I was laying down. Okay, Daryl, write down the topic. Daryl did not write down the topic. Now I can't remember the topic, so let's deal with that. But we'll be dealing with whatever is in my notes. We'll be dealing with whatever is in my one random stuff article or piece I wrote a couple of years ago. And that's what we're going to be dealing with this week. So, what is in my notes? Why do you exist? Is there any hope for humanity? Because it is a kind of question, because I find myself asking myself questions generally. And I realize that I do not think there's much hope for humanity, but I do not care. Because I feel like when human society eventually collapse, my time will have passed. Because obviously, I'm probably not going to live for anything more than 70 more years, and that is very generous considering the fact that I have access to middle class Nigerian food that has God knows what in it. So 70 more years of my existence is quite generous. So I'm not that bothered about the collapse of humanity, but I think it's going to be eventual. Because when you look at the human behavior, the human structure, it is natural to hate and to love. And when you find yourself in an entire situation where you're just wondering will things get better, I can delude myself with the hubris that I have been born in a station and I am at a certain level of stability. I've mentioned it before that yes, everything can be generally going to hell, but I will probably remain at my peaceful level of mediocrity for the rest of my existence. But then it now comes to questions what are you going to breed? Are you going to decide are you going to continue other human beings and continue a bloodline that may witness the collapse of human society? I don't know, that depends. It's a question that people have to ask. So this goes on to my second point. I don't want young people to make definite decisions, because people often give people the expectations that you do something now, it has to be the end of the thing. You start a career, this is the career you're up to for the rest of your life. But accepting the fact that this may not continue, and I feel the illusion of a dream that a lot of people follow, okay, this is my passion, this is my dream, this is what I exist for. I wouldn't say it's pointless, but I'd say that it's one thing that you want to do something that you do not detest. It's best to do something that you intend to grow, you intend to improve, you intend to become the best at it, you intend to become a fighting force of change, a force that can provide improvements in whatever that you're doing, but that cannot be the entirety of your being. The very thing that you love cannot be your career path. Yes, you understand there's a subject of passion, but passion should not be the entirety of your existence. What about structure? What about your relationships with other human beings? What about other things? And the concept of deciding that you want to pick an individual to spend the rest of your life is do you really want to trust a human? A human of all creatures on this earth, you want to trust a human to be with you for all of eternity. Okay, not all of eternity, generous 50 years. But still, now deciding for young people to jump in and out of decision, I don't understand why a lot of younger people are judged for whatever decision they make, for how you choose to act in relationships, because it gives this kind of mindset that they are young and they are old. They have not really weighed the pros and cons of beginning a relationship. They are operating on the aspect of passion. I am not a very passionate person. Well, in my big age, I'm still not a very passionate person, so I do not operate in the concepts of passion when it comes to dealing with other people. But there are individuals who behave on the concepts of passion. I do not disrespect them for that. But if it's a common enough aspect in society, Why are people judged when they make horrible decisions in relationships, when we've accepted that people do not make decisions on their partners with like a steady head? Like, why are still people judged when it appears that their decision has been bad, or when it feels like they've been cheated? Because of course they will be cheated. They chose with their heart. And even then, creating like an entity or deciding to breed with someone, because obviously if you're operating with fashion doesn't necessarily mean that you believe this person is capable of stability. Hence the propensity of a lot of married women to have a wild side piece when they're with the man that is providing for them. But that is another thing where people are thinking with their bodies and not their heads. Another thing, I know this is going to fall into another like non-tangent, but like I said, this is an episode where I didn't have a script. I had an idea for a script, did not write it, kept on pressing forward, did not read the Terry Pratchett books I said I was going to come and review. I still like when it's read, but like whatever. So yeah, in this entire situation where young people are expected to know what they want, at the same time expected to not know what they want, which is just very funny. So if you find yourself in this situation, yes, I remember the tangent I wanted to go to. If you find yourself in a situation where you realize that, oh, this person is abandoning me because I'm not up to a certain quality, then you now go on a tangent to improve yourself. I'm like, are you an idiot? Like, are you saying that this individual does not deserve the best version of you? Like, why is your ability to improve yourself, to structure yourself, to create systems and plans in which you improve, says the girl who hasn't washed clothes in the past 2 weeks and hasn't done like a bunch of shit. But like, let's just say in my head I have plans and systems. I have a habit tracker. I might not be clicking this, but I have a fucking habit tracker. So if you're in this entire situation, how do you expect that you do not want to give the best quality of yourself to an individual, then you complain when you decide that you're not good enough for the plans that they have for themselves? That is just unfair to that person who has probably given you the best. The fact that you desire them even after they've gone, and you feel like your change is a spite to them, means that they gave you their best. Not necessarily. Some people are just malicious, and you may not have been that horrible in the first place. They just wanted to compare it to another individual, especially individuals in which they were not in their league, but they felt like they could improve or polish whatever it is they had in their possession. But if you insist on improving yourself after you've been abandoned or after you've been left, then I think you're a malicious human being, in the fact that you decided not to work on yourself until this negative thing happened. The concept of relationships in my own mind is two complete individuals coming together to create something new, not half-broken, unstructured individuals who have no direction, no plan, no nothing, and decide that, oh, okay, we are going to fix each other. That is a recipe for disaster. But then again, I realize in third world countries like Nigeria inclusive, like even though like Nigeria is opening up to the idea of like relatively younger people in like romantic situations, especially in the non-Muslim South, you realize that people, especially if people who didn't end up with their like secondary school or university sweethearts, make very objective and practical decisions when they want to get married. Like probably no more than 4 months of courtship and boom, they've gotten married because they asked about funding, asked about sexual behaviors, asked about a bunch of other like topical issues that will come up in a marriage, or they just did the Christianity and the pastor matched them up. But in the end, you realize a lot of people, when it comes to spending the rest of their life with somebody, are very logical about the matter. So that was my tangent on that point. And the next thing is, I said I do not want to get trapped in the situation of I only have co-workers and family. So I'm currently at that stage where everybody's getting busy. People are working overtime, people are working like 12 hours a day, people are doing like a bunch of stuff. I'm currently really free now, so I'm trying to like get all my friends to exist and be like, dudes, like don't work yourself to death. Like, I guess like, we all want cash and everything, and Dara is not particularly interested in a lot of money like that, but even though she does eventually want to become a tourist. But you need to make out time, because I remember looking in horror at my previous place of employment. I'm like, no, I don't want these to be the only people that I talk to, because I remember having this conversation with somebody. I was like, yeah, they're all chilling together, co-worker, but like somebody crosses the line manager and you lose your job, like nobody's going to fucking defend you. Your friendship is not that deep. If you're in a situation where like the entirety of what you have is your family, and then you don't have outside friends, you just have your co-workers, then you can never have an in-depth relationship with your co-workers, because even though you expect cooperation and final growth together, at a certain level you are in a form of competition. So it's a real fear when I see some people whose only support system is their co-workers and family is far away. It's just like, oh, announcement, these people are going to fucking abandon you, not because they are bad people, but because this is a situation where you cannot necessarily, unless maybe it's a question of like union rights and situation, but if it's something that, although as a friendship you can forgive, you cannot forgive it in a situation of work because of like outputs and preparations and whatever. How do you reduce mic sensitivity on this thing? Because I'm pretty sure those screaming chicks are going to make it into here. Whatever. So in this situation, I've decided that, like, yes, because as much as I like the sound of my own voice, hence I have a podcast, hence I lead all my projects and work, hence I try to lead classes and generally get myself out there, I am still kind of an introvert. I do enjoy my own company the most. I think it shows with the way I talk and how much I enjoy my voice. So even if I am alone, the only one providing the concept of a voice. What the fuck is going on? The concept of a voice, I understand that I enjoy my own company. But the problem is I attract people who are exactly like me. I attract people who are even more, introverted than me, which is going to be a problem in the long run, because I identify the issues that come up with having only conversations with family and work people. You wake up one morning, even in your like comfortable introverted space, and realize that, oh Jesus Christ, I don't have anybody to fucking chill with. So you now have to realize that, okay, as an adult, somebody in this friend group has to take up the responsibility to ensure that we all meet each other, we all have conversations with each other, we all check up on each other to be sure that we are okay. And because we are no longer in the situation of, okay, this is class, I speak to this person because I see them every day. Is like, we're old. Unfortunately, that's how it exists. We are all old, and if you're old, you have to decide consciously to meet. You have to decide that this is how we're going to interact with each other. This is the expectations I have for a friend in my life, and this is what I'm willing and not willing to accept when it deals with other human beings outside the workspace and outside family. So it's like, it's me like sitting down considering like, how am I going to come up with a plan to get my depressed ass individuals that I call friends to get their shit together and be like, dude, like, human being, let's meet up. I'm talking like this because I have free time, because I remember working on a project for like throughout the entire day, and I realized that I wasn't going to fucking stand up. Like, if my entire day is like this project every day, like, if I don't actually decide to carve out time for the people who are important to me other than family, I know that family won't abandon me and they'll like definitely call, even if I don't call because I'm the youngest, obviously. But you're in a situation where you realize that if you don't call these people, because you know them well enough, you know that they are not calling other people either, you're now in the situation where you have to be the extroverted one of the bunch, because you don't want people to fall into this like general well of loneliness, because that is just the unfortunate situation you find yourself in, like, as an adult, because you have to intentionally choose people, which is fine, I guess. So I think I'm done with the 4 notes I had. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention about this thing. It wasn't the exact situation. This boils down to my entire outlook on like breeding. I don't know why I keep calling it breeding as if it's a horrible thing. It's a wonderful thing to bring humans into this world, even though I feel like human society will collapse. Well, I won't be there to see it. That's not a problem. But then you're sitting there in a situation where you have to watch a child who's barely the size of my fucking laptop screen. Like, seriously, that is the only measure I can describe this with. Like, it was that small, covered in boils and rashes. I almost didn't want to buy anything from my mother, because I was like, you know, it's just, you don't know who you're going to be angry at. Like, with a screaming sick child, who are you going to be angry at? Are you going to be angry at the mother who just knows that once you marry, you're expected to breed, and who is at least trying her best in the fact that she hasn't bred like 500 children? But you wonder, like, this is a screaming child covered in insect bites and rashes and boils and infections, and you wonder, who are you going to be angry at? You can't just pause. Like, obviously you don't have a financial situation and you'd rather buy a serum than feed some random person's baby because you're a human being and a horrible person. But how do you decide that this is what you want for the person? This is How do you do? What do you even do? Who are you going to get angry at? What is your purpose? What is the point of trying to fix something? And I think it took me around like an entire like what do you call it? A tangent on lack of human empathy. I remember reading this random Reddit post where somebody was being it's not that long ago because 9/11 wasn't that long ago. This random Reddit post where somebody was very disgusted about like he feels zero empathy for America for like the whatever because the country caused a coup in their country which caused like the death of millions of people or what have you. But in the kind of situation that it's not like people, how I'll explain the concept of media and the spread of information. People often have this illusion that things are important to them. Like when something is pushed in your face aggressively, it becomes the aspect of importance. That's the importance of global reach. That is the importance of media houses ensuring that their reach expands and whatever happens in various societies is fine by them. But you realize that it's not always possible like that. It's never possible like that. Fuck. Dad is having a breakout and I've decided I'm supposed to. I finally got around to getting my benzoic acid mask, aka Nixoderm, to put on my fucking face. But there's that. So enough of my random rants about the entire conversation of the pointlessness of human existence. Let's go on to my random page of something I found. Because I kept us being like, because I'm at the current situation, because I tried so many new habits and I have a spending tracker which I have not fixated. I don't know how I spent like 15k like in the last how many days. Yeah. What am I buying? I have no idea. And I got a spending like tracker and habits, whatever. Am I using it? No, but I'd say I'm trying. And this free week is me going back to pick up drawing because I bought a literal tab that is supposed to help me with drawing. I'm supposed to go back to it from tomorrow, so there's that. And go about being sick, slow down my workout routine, which is so unfortunate how Caroline Graven just started like working out again. Like she started a new program and I didn't join because I wasn't feeling too well. And my ab lines are starting to disappear when I flex them. Lol. Yeah. So where is stupid account stuff that I'm trying to open? I'll pause this for now. Ask a couple more questions, like because I remember having this entire what's the word? I remember having this entire outlook on what do you want to do with your life. This was an entire what's the word? List of chapters and everything, and deciding whatever was going. So at my first worries, I've never gotten to the point where I know whether this is true or not. Then second worry, I'm free of that. Then that's fine. It's like, oh yeah, am I still scared of getting older? No, not really. Like my older brother just turned 30 like 2 days ago, and I'm wondering like, oh my god, this is what 30 looks like. It's not bad, at least on this person. It's like it's decent. Okay, this is what it means to be fucking 30-year-old and like having your shit together financially, and deciding that I'm not ready to breed, I'm not ready to exist and whatever. And I'm like, 30 looks good. I can't see myself being that kind of 30, but then again I remember that I am a human with a vagina in a third world country. I'm probably not going to be that kind of 30 unless I can make even more money than that and be completely independent, like super independent. Okay. Yes, worried about my 20s being a waste of girl. I cannot believe I'm turning 24 in how many months? Like, ew. Like, I think I'm like eternally 16 in my mind. Like, my general vibe is that of a gross 16-year-old. And then you realize that 16 was 8 years ago. Was it? Yes, it was fucking 8 years ago. People who began existence when I began my first life in university are fucking 8. Like, ew. But here we are, old and existing and just ancient and deciding to, I don't know, be old. But there you are. I worry about worries becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. You start to wonder that, is that a certain point that you want to come across? Is that something you want to believe? Like, it's one thing that you say that certain things are horrible and worth worrying. It's another thing that you decide that, okay, this is how I exist, this is how I move on, this is how I provide solutions to whatever problems I have. And I keep on doing it. You can see that I'm aggressively trying to reach like the 30 minutes mark and we're just in 20 minutes. So listen to me ramble on. I'm afraid of never being someone's number one. Oh, okay. I remember having this entire conversation on like being comfortable in your own company and rampant loneliness. It's like it's a definition of like I think accepting my very aromanticness in this situation of even if you're incredibly like attached to somebody, if they ask you out, it's like understanding that's where I am, even where I am in the past. Like even if it's accepting a situation where you realize that even if let me check if this sound behind me is entering this thing. Fuck. So understanding that toxic youth exists and you realize that you're at a certain point where you're just like, do I start to drama? Do I accept like whatever it is going on around me? Or am I just like that much of a wonderful human being? And you accept that yes, I am that much of a wonderful human being because I really don't have the energy for some shit. So afraid of like I was talking about like our romanticness and the existence of like irresponsibility. We realize that individuals have this situation where they just do things without the consideration of others, which is the general purpose of a lot of young people. You realize that people jump into like what's the word, concepts of like relationships, and they think that I'm crazy about this person, I'm into this person, I'm whatever about this person, but you haven't even planned for this existence of the person. You have planned for their structure, you haven't planned for their being. You're not invested in their success, which is, in my opinion, is cruel. Like if you find yourself in a situation where you realize that you're incapable of respecting this individual's emotions, this individual's desire for success, this individual's ambition, then you do not love that person. And it's not even loss, it's just an expectation of you doing whatever society expects you to do, which is unfortunate because a lot of young people find themselves in that loop of the illusion that they are ready. I know like it's not necessarily like a job, like a jab. It's not necessarily a jab at somebody's like expectation of what is fine, what is expected, what is moved on. It's understanding that this is what I'm expected to do, this is what I expect to gain, and this is what I've decided to do in my limited life. My entire focus on like my limited existence sometimes, like I said before, is nihilism, Ubuntu, and nihilism, Ubuntu, and what's the last one again? Stoicism. Understanding that human existence and existence of everything is not necessarily worth it. So having a stoic ideal generally makes me have this decision on, is something really worth dragging over? Like, is something really worth pushing something over? Is something really worth causing an illusion, causing a holocaust over? And is it really something that you're like, I could just probably get out of this eventually? It's just a situation where you accept that certain things are happening, but you need to understand that you personally have to draw a line of the things that you want, the things that you're more than able to live with. Because I have this general rule that, yes, some things bother me, but I'm able to live with it. I won't die if this thing happens. But if I decide that I'm going to fucking die if this constantly happens, then fuck that shit, I'm going to burn the person alive. I know it sounds like exaggerated and dramatic, but if you don't set like boundaries for yourself, people often think that maybe you are blowing up at the last like point. But it means if you're not exactly aware of what your boundaries are, you blow up at tiny straws. So you need to decide, is this something that I've decided does not bother me, or is this something that I've decided that fuck you, I'm going to ruin you if you do this kind of thing. And a lot of people haven't decided those boundaries before they decide to interact with another human being, which causes like unnecessary friction, unnecessary existence, and whatever have you, whether in relationship, a friendship, or just like general existence with another human. But in that situation, it is cool because society expects people to be observant of what you expect someone else around you to do, which it doesn't work that way. People need explicit rules on how to behave. If you focus on implicitness, other people will just move, not because they are bad or they are terrible. They just expect that you know what is in their head, which is not possible. So if you let something happen, you have to be telling yourself, you have to be comfortable with the fact that yes, and be honest with yourself that you let this happen. you let this happen, and it's not because we're not strong enough. You decided that this thing was not important enough to start an argument over, which is, I think, is very important for a lot of younger people to learn. Older people never learn it, so I would never say like, oh, younger, older. It's like for a human to learn, because age is not a subject of wisdom. Age can tell you like specific experiences and what has gone wrong if you're the kind of individual who even learns from mistakes. But if you have hubris and you refuse to understand or refuse to like exist, then you'll be a fucking asshole. If you like be fucking 90. That's just how humanity exists. And I feel as a human being, understanding that there will always be people that will never learn, that will never understand, that will never improve, that will never be useful to you. Understanding that those people exist, will always decide not to respect the space of others. You understand that you find yourself in a situation where things don't necessarily bother you anymore because you give yourself peace. You give yourself a sense of duty. You give yourself a sense of purpose. And that is the purpose of just existing, of becoming like in a like an optimistic nihilist in quotes, and understanding that the existence or like your purpose of existence is something that you give it to. The meaning of life is the only meaning that you give it to it, and understanding that your own insignificance is not necessarily a problem. Like yes, like obviously if some rich billionaire in Saudi sponsored Boko Haram to start a bomb and it blows up our hostel, I'd be dead, but I'm fine with that because I understood that this was out of my control, and the only thing worth feeling bad about are things I have recognized are within my control, and that is fine. So what song should I put at the end? I'm not even in the mood to scroll down and look at it like giant words and whatever. What song should I end this with? I don't know. I'll probably look again like my YouTube music. Like, I'm thinking something 80s again. Maybe Black Velvet. I heard this random word. I just liked her face. Like I like the general structure of her existence and her face. So this was just a random episode talking about like relatively depressing stuff like I enjoy doing. So it has been a personal code of conduct. Have a productive week.